Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/malicious compliance. In today's episode, won't get off the train? Well, suit yourself. Nitpick my perfectly acceptable work? Okay. I'd like to open an account. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Won't get off the train? Well, suit yourself. A few years ago, I was working as a conductor for a local train company. As we were about to leave a station, a warning was issued that something was wrong with the train's signal transmitter. As per protocol, the passengers was asked to leave the train and move on to a replacement bus. Now, it was kind of late, around 7 or 8 p.m., and there was maybe about 20 people on board, so we didn't think much of it. About 10 minutes pass, and as I'm making my way to the back of the train to check a control panel, I notice a man still sitting in one of the seats in the last cart. I stop, a little confused, and I say, "Excuse me sir, but perhaps you didn't hear before, the train is dash." The man, not even looking up from his phone, tells me, "Yeah, I heard you." Me, now actually confused, pause for a bit and then say, "Well sir, you'll have to leave the train." Him, "I'm sure we'll be moving again soon." Me, "Sir, that doesn't matter, no passengers are allowed to stay on the train." Him, "Look, girly, condescending AF I might add, I'm not getting off this train just so you and your lazy friends up there," he points at the camera in the corner, "can have a break." As he spoke, he got up from his seat. This man was probably in his late 40s, easily 6 feet 5 inches and 240 pounds, towering over my 5 feet 4 inches 21 years old skinny ass. I knew he was trying to intimidate me to leave, but since the cameras was on and he'd even pointed them out himself, I found it hard to believe he'd actually do something. So I pressed on. "Me, sir, I am asking you politely to step off this train." He huffed at me and sat back down, without answering. "Me, sir?" Nah, he just grunted at me. By this point, I'm getting frustrated and tired with this big gut. I muster my sternest look and voice and try one last time. "Sir, the train is not going to move and you are not allowed to be on it." Him, "I said I'm not FING moving. Are you really this dumb? Just shut TF up and don't tell me anything unless it's that we're at the next station." "Well, alright." I paint on my costumer's smile and tell him with a sugary voice, "Alright sir, I will." And I hear him mutter under his breath as I leave. I tell my coworker what happened, and he freaks out at first, but as we are not allowed to forcibly remove passengers ourselves, and the nearest security guard is 45 minutes away, I tell him to leave the situation to me. He reluctantly agrees. 20 minutes pass and the signal transmitter error is solved. We get permission to move and are told to go back to our starting station to wait for our next scheduled trip. This of course meaning we're turning around and not continuing our planned route. It doesn't take long from when we leave the station that there's a knock on my door. I know it's the man, but as he can't see into my cabin, I don't answer the door. A few more knocks, and then he leaves. The trip back to our starting station takes about 45 minutes, and I call ahead to have a security guard waiting there for us. As we approach the station, I find the man pacing in the hallways, and I can tell he is absolutely furious. I'm trying so hard not to laugh out loud at his fat, tomato-red face. "Me, sir, we are nearing the next station." Him, trembling over his word in anger, "This is not my FING station." I look him dead in the eye with a fake, very overly done, confused face as the train pulls up to the platform and I can see the guard through the window. "Well no sir, you told me not to talk to you unless it was to tell you when we were at the next station. This is the next station. We are here. So I'm telling you." The man was visibly shaking at this point. He was spitting out words that I couldn't apprehend. When the security guard tapped him on the shoulder and asked him to step off, he exploded in a fit of rage, which ultimately ended with the police escorting him off the premises. I reckon it took him a very hefty amount of unnecessary cash and time to get to his destination after that, while I was left with a very amusing story to tell my coworkers, until I quit like 2 weeks later. Nitpick my perfectly acceptable work? Okay. I work as a criminal investigator within a federal agency, and my job is pretty much what it seems like. I investigate crimes within the jurisdiction of the agency I work at. It's not as glamorous as it seems and involves a ton of paperwork. Most of the time I have to handle evidence and log them, take notes, make connections, and send copies of them, if they are scannable, to where they need to go. The thing with evidence is that in order for it to be admissible in court, we have to know everywhere it has ever been, who has been in contact with, and what has been done to it. How we track it is we sign it out, and it records the time we take it and the time it is returned. If it is in your possession, it must stay in your possession at all times, and it cannot leave your sight. Usually notes look something like this. Evidence box, number, taken out by, name, at, date, time, for the purpose of, reason. Evidence C is taken out of the box for, admin action, and, details. Evidence D is taken out of the box to be scanned to, other agency for, reason. You get the picture. There has to be a valid reason for everything, and there must be a trail, or else who knows what has happened to it. My notes include more than there needs to be because I'm super paranoid about not having enough detail. Also, it's worth noting that it is the manager's job to look over the evidence and sign off on every line to make sure it is valid. Recently there has been a change in management as my current manager received a promotion to a much better role. A guy, let's call him Kevin, from a different team became our acting manager until someone else was appointed to the role. Now there are 3 people who have a shot at this promotion, me, another guy from my team, and Kevin. Kevin didn't like that he had competition and began making my life hell. From calling me out in front of everyone because I came back from my break a minute late because there was a queue in the washroom to deliberately making it more difficult to do my job by taking my criminal investigations admin assistant off my case because she was needed elsewhere. I later asked what she was assigned to and she said it was general admin, which we have a person for. The last straw was when he pulled me into his office and chastised me about how my notes compromised a criminal case because there wasn't enough detail. This has never been an issue before, and I was confused. I needed to include everything I do with the evidence. Everything? I said. Every single thing you do, he smugly replied. Yes, sir. Now, anything that could compromise a case is sent up the chain and is reported to HR and any other department that might help fix the situation. I knew this and I knew what he was going to tell me to do. Writing out all those details is enough work, and he was going to make it worse. I asked for a copy of the letter he sent to HR, which he happily handed over, and I went on my way. The letter was to have my back in case he decided to write me up for what I was about to do. It took a few days before I needed to log out evidence again, but boy, was I excited. Usually, the most tedious job became the one I was looking forward to the most. You want detail, Kevin? I'll give you detail. My notes look like this. Evidence box 001 taken off of shelf with both hands out by Bebo 4144 at date/hour/minute/second for the purpose of reason 1, reason 2, reason 3. Reason 14. Evidence box 001 was placed on the table beside the scanner with the label facing the scanner. Evidence box 001 is scanned at date/hour/minute/second. Evidence box 001 was picked up by both hands, and Bebo 4144 walked through the left door of the double doors. Bebo 4144 took a right turn to the end of the office, and then another right to cubicle 9-033. Evidence box 001 was placed at the right innermost corner of the desk at date/hour/minute/second. The lid of evidence box 001 was taken off by both hands and placed on the floor under the desk, leaning against the cubicle wall. Bebo 4144 lifts evidence F off of evidence B with her right hand. Bebo 4144's ring on her right middle finger touches the outside of the evidence F bag. Bebo 4144 places it in the top right corner of the box at date/hour/minute/second. Bebo 4144 looks at the evidence box to determine which evidence she is going to examine. Bebo 4144 sits down. Bebo 4144 moves her mouse to wake her computer up. And so on. My notes, which are usually around 5 pages, were 18 pages long, and he had to sign off on every single line. I reverted back to my old way of note-taking and Kevin never complained again. Oh, and he didn't get the job. The other guy from my team did, and he's doing great. I'd like to open an account. Mobile, etc., etc. As a small contractor, I often accept checks written for amounts over 5K. I had received one of these and was unsure of it. I had heard this particular individual had issued rubber checks in the past, so I decided to cash it at their bank. My thought process was that I would then know immediately if it was valid, and at the same time avoid incurring any fees from my usual bank. I enter the small branch office and wait my turn. I then ask to cash the check and present my ID. The teller asks if I have an account, and I answer with a no. She then tells me they charge a $40 fee to cash checks for non-customers. I'm blown away as the check is written on their bank, by one of their customers, and that fee is huge. I verify this is the case, and it is. So I ask to open a savings account. The teller, looking annoyed, starts pulling out paperwork. This is a small branch, and apparently here the tellers also open the new accounts. There are only 2 tellers, and it's a Friday afternoon, so a line has begun to form. I'm given forms to fill. The teller incredibly gets everything entered as I complete each form. About 10 minutes go by and I'm the proud owner of a new savings account which I opened with the check in question. Good news, it was good. While counting out the change from the check, I hadn't needed to deposit all of it to open the savings account. The teller welcomes me to the bank and asks if there is anything else. The line behind me has grown and people are now waiting out the door. So I said I'd like to close my account and smile. The teller gives me the dirtiest look I've ever gotten and says I can't close it for 30 days after opening. Undeterred, I ask what the smallest amount I can leave in the savings account is. I'm told $5, so that's what I leave. I sign the withdrawal and am handed my cash. I thank the teller for her help and add that if the fees were more reasonable, it would have saved them money. At least 20 people in line as I walked out. I never did close the account and receive a statement by mail every month and have for over 2 years. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.